What is going on, guys? Welcome into Rover Sports, the show. Wanted to thank everybody for tuning in. It's taken a little while to get everything set up. I'm very excited about this Bills and this New York Giants matchup. In fact, I'm so excited that I'm even doing my research a tad bit late for this matchup. I got everything working on the computer, wanted to get this up before yesterday. The betting line has actually gone down in this game. It originally was New York Giants getting 2 points, meaning the Bills were favored on the road, and it has ended up that the New York Giants are only 1-point dogs at home. But let's look at total defensive statistics through 2019. The Buffalo Bills are top 3 in defense to start the year. I'm just going to guess here. Rushing defense. I bet that the Buffalo Bills are, again, they're number 7 on this list. Again, they are only giving up 68 yards on the ground for rushing, which is really, really good. But I bet yards per carry, actually, Buffalo is only going to be maybe in the top 10 in terms of rushing per carry. Let's see, yards per rush attempt on defense, rushing defense, opponent's yards per rush attempt. Again, Buffalo here is only ranked 10 in terms of the league. So for the New York Giants, they need to pound Saquon Barkley, right? Because against the pass, the Buffalo Bills, the passing defense, I'm sure, is the best in the league. The Buffalo Bills, the Buffalo Bills, in terms of pass defense, guys, the Buffalo Bills, opponent passing yards a game, Buffalo is second in the NFL. So, a lot to get to in this game, okay? Josh Allen, inconsistent quarterback, but he pulled it out. It was an outstanding win for Josh Allen to start off the campaign. Josh Allen bounced back. The Bills have the Bengals at home, which San Francisco can beat them. And I think that the Buffalo Bills have a wonderful chance to defeat the Cincinnati Bengals in week 3, but it is the Giants. So the Giants defense, Kellen Moore might just be absolutely brilliant. I think Kellen Moore is the next coming of Bill Belichick. He's the next Sean McVay. He's the next great coach in the NFL. And Jerry Jones will be a fool to hire Richard. He'd be a fool to hire Jason Garrett. He needs to hire Kellen Moore immediately. This guy is absolutely brilliant. He's 31 years old. He had a 3.7 GPA at Boise State. So maybe, just maybe. And Kellen Moore also was such a great intellect as a player that he immediately, Kellen Moore, ended up going right to the offensive coordinator, and now Kellen Moore called motion on 70% of plays, and there was no film out on Kellen Moore. So these linebackers of the New York Giants, Tay Davis, Alec Ogletree, they got sucked up by Kellen Moore last week, and that added to some huge passing plays by Kellen Moore and by the Cowboys. So I bet Kellen Moore and Dak, maybe Dak wins an MVP, maybe Kellen Moore is absolutely brilliant. They're going to smash the Redskins. Maybe Dallas is just absolutely fantastic. Now, for James Betcher, this game, he cannot let Josh Allen go off. He needs to guard against John Brown. John Brown over 100 receiving yards last game, including the go-ahead score, about a 45-yard touchdown from John Brown. The Buffalo Bills, starting off last game, they passed the ball 17 straight times to start off the game against the New York Jets. Josh Allen threw a pick 6. Josh Allen threw another interception. Josh Allen fumbled. The Bills fumbled and lost 2 turnovers. The Giants can get some turnovers on the Buffalo Bills. It's not like the Bills' offense is absolutely a well-oiled, perfect machine. This is a very good test to see if James Betcher is worth the hire in New York. This is the ultimate test for James freaking Betcher. Can the Giants hold the Bills to under 28 points? Can they hold the Bills to 21 or 24 points? Can they play reasonable defense? Because their defense last week was absolutely embarrassing. Now, here's the thing that Pat Shurmur wants to do. My friend Dave, who hosted a podcast with me, it's called the Rover and Dave Podcast. You guys go on YouTube and watch that. Dave, my friend, said, interestingly, Pat Shurmur is already preparing Daniel Jones for the moment of being a starting quarterback in the NFL by playing Daniel Jones at the end of last week's week 1 game, because when Matt Ryan and Ben Roethlisberger and these other quarterbacks in the NFL, when they were getting killed, you never saw the guy Rudolph from Oklahoma State. I think his name is Mason. You never saw Mason Rudolph take the field. You never saw Matt Schaub or whatever backup quarterback in Atlanta. You never saw them take the field even when Matt Ryan was getting killed. So the belief is with a lot of people that Daniel Jones prefers the more mobile, that Pat Shurmur prefers the more mobile Daniel Jones at quarterback. Now, this is what I'm going to say about the entire matter. I'm an Eli Manning fan. I love what Eli's done for the New York Giants. I think Eli played very well last week, and you're seeing out in Cleveland how big of a distraction Odell Beckham is. By wearing a watch to the football game, by not taking off his watch. I mean, even when you play elementary basketball, when you're playing middle school basketball or middle school football, you're taught to take off your jewelry so that kids won't latch onto the jewelry. And Odell Beckham wearing his watch, calling out Greg Williams, giving him bulletin board material, the former coach of the Browns. So without Odell Beckham, this offense got better. Sterling was better. Evan Ingram was utilized. The offense was far from the problem. If the offense actually got more reps, they would have scored about 24 to 31 points. Eli over 300 yards, no turnovers, 68% completion percentage. Eli played relatively well. So the point is with Eli is that he's terrible at getting out of the pocket. That's the reason he's not going to play into the Drew Brees and Tom Brady age, because he cannot elude a rush. Even last week, when the Cowboys almost got him for a sack, he needed to put his big paw down to brace getting killed. So the Buffalo Bills, they do an unbelievable job of suppressing the pocket. Leslie Frazier is one of the best assistant coaches that you can have on the defensive side of the ball. He's even been a head coach in this league. He's been phenomenal. Sean McDermott, third year of the scheme. Tremaine Edmonds is coming along. You have Jordan Poyer, one of the best safeties in the NFL. Tre'Davious White is a Pro Bowl talent out of LSU who can lock up just about anybody. So expect the Bills' big cornerbacks to be on Sterling Shepard. Expect Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds, especially Tremaine Edmonds, to guard against Evan Ingram. So you know what that means for the New York Giants that are going against Jerry Hughes, that are going against like Ed Oliver and Jordan Phillips and all of these guys in the middle of the field that are going to suppress the pocket? Because Sam Darnold, you could say that Sam Darnold was sick last week, but the bottom line was he was under duress the entire game. So the Bills' defense is tremendous. Eli Manning is not good at extending plays. So the New York Giants need to run the football and shrink the box. And that's why if Pat Shurmur is serious about winning, he would run Saquon Barkley about 30 or 32 times. He would wear him out and he would run him as much as possible. Now, if Pat Shurmur is saying, you know what, this year, our team is not very good. I want Daniel Jones as the quarterback. I want to save mileage on the Saquon Barkley tires for later in his rookie contract, maybe in about 2 years, and I kind of want to run him about 20 or 22 times. The Bills are going to end up winning this game. So the way the Giants are going to win is if they pound Saquon, is if they have Wayne Gallman and Paul Perkins, if they have Perkins and Gallman also run it in the middle of the field, if Kevin Zeitler and Will Hernandez and John Jalapeno, if they can take over the middle of the game and just run the ball between the tackles, that's the best chance for the New York Giants, is staying on the field, getting third and manageable, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4s. If you're doing screen passes, if you're rolling Eli out, There's going to be a lot of turnovers. Eli's going to get hit a lot. This is a very scary defense. This isn't Tampa Bay. This isn't the Washington Redskins. This is one of the elite defenses in the NFL. This is a playoff caliber team that the Giants are going to be playing in the Buffalo Bills. The way they're going to stay in the game is if Alec Ogletree can get some interceptions, if some of the linebackers can actually play aggressively at points and jump on the football. The good thing about the Bills is that there's a lot of new offensive linemen on these Buffalo Bills. Cody Ford is new. The guy from Tennessee, Quentin Spain's very new. Mitch Morse is new to Josh Allen and this system. I think I mentioned Ford. And then they also have at right tackle, I think, another new player. So the Bills, they didn't run the ball at all in the first half. That means that B.J. Hill, that means that Dalvin Tomlinson and Dexter Lawrence, those guys should take care of the run. Because the New York Giants last week, they're thinking Dak Prescott isn't going to beat us. Ezekiel Elliott and the Cowboys are going to smash the ball at us. And that didn't really happen. The Giants got teased by Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore absolutely toyed with this team, and Kellen Moore got the Giants biting on play action, creating huge plays. If I were James Betcher, I would sit back in a cover 3 or a cover 4 zone. I would force Josh Allen to go through his reads and hit the 5-yard throw, and I'd be there to tackle. I would play bend but not break defense. I'd also set up in positions where I'm inviting Buffalo to try to run on my defense. I'd invite Devin Singletary in his second game, Cody Ford in his second game, Quentin Spain and these new offensive linemen. I would invite them to run the ball. I would only have 3 guys in the box. You got Dexter Lawrence. You drafted Tomlinson and B.J. Hill just for these circumstances to stuff the run. Lorenzo Carter, Ogletree, they need to stuff Singletary and invite Buffalo to run. So I'd be dropping 7 and 8 in coverage. I don't want to see blitzes, and I don't want to see guys like DeAndre Baker, Antonio Hamilton. You don't want them one-on-one with Foster, with Zay Jones, with Cole Beasley, even the tight end last week from Buffalo. I think a rookie out of Boston College had a couple of catches. You need to limit the explosive plays in the passing game and force Josh Allen to string out a 12 or 15 play drive to kill you. You got to stay in the game, and you got to get your defense. First of all, this defense, it's like they're a toddler, and you tried to put them in water last week in like 5 or 6 foot water, and they sank and they almost drowned. And it was embarrassing last week. They were drowning consistently. You need to slip them into the kiddie pool by playing really conservative cover 4 zones and trying to get to the quarterback with about 3 or 4 people. And also, if you blitz Josh Allen, or not blitzing, when you rush Josh Allen, please do not let him roll to his right. Have outside contained because he is very mobile. Overall, the way the Giants are going to win this game is we're going to see if Pat Shurmur can stick to running Saquon Barkley, playing ball control offense, keeping the game close, and hoping the Bills kind of shrink down the stretch. For Buffalo, the game plan is simple. You have the better football team. The defense can stop the run. And just do exactly what you did last week. Your passing defense is one of the best in the NFL. You should not be worried about Sterling Shepard, and he might not even play. So Evan Ingram, don't let Ingram beat you. And if you're the Bills, you can't let Saquon Barkley beat you. On offense, I believe that you got to run Singletary when available. You got to run Singletary more. And even if the Giants are playing conservative coverage, Antonio Hamilton and Baker are very young and not very good at this point, so you got to take deep shots and continue to be aggressive. But Buffalo has the better defense in this game, a tremendous defense, and their offense, if Singletary can run the ball effectively against a conservative coverage, Josh Allen's going to have his opportunities. Who's a better quarterback in this game, Josh or Eli Manning? And it's close. Josh can play worse than Eli Manning, but I'm going to go with Josh Allen, who's a better defense, the Buffalo Bills. If I had to pick the game, I'm a New York Giants fan. There is a world in which the Giants win. There's a world in which the Giants can rise to the occasion at home, bounce back, and play solid football. This is a game I would stay away from if I had to bet it. I'm going to be safe, though, and I'm going to go Buffalo by I'm going to say Buffalo gets 27 points and the New York Giants about 17 points in the game. So 27-17, Buffalo with a win. Maybe a 24-17 game for Buffalo, or 24-20. Let's go with the final score. 24 for the Buffalo Bills, 17 for the New York Giants in a loss. So that brings me to the next point. I'm not sure if Pat Shurmur is the right guy for the New York Giants job. I'm not. Pat Shurmur in Cleveland, now it was in Cleveland, he was terrible in Cleveland. Pat Shurmur in Philadelphia, never considered a head coaching option, flamed out with Chip Kelly. Pat Shurmur with Mike Zimmer had that one great year with Case Keenum, but they had a very easy schedule. Pat Shurmur, to me, he's not amongst one of the intellectual, groundbreaking, innovative offensive minds in football. And Pat Shurmur's defense, because as a head coach, you are responsible for the defensive side of the football. The defense has been terrible under Pat Shurmur, and nobody has developed defensively. Has Eli Manning really developed under Shurmur? A little bit. So the point is, if the Giants lose versus the Buffalo Bills, they will be 3-3 heading into Arizona. This is a must-win game for Eli Manning. This might be his last game, and I'll explain why. If the Giants lose to the Bills, which is very possible, the Bills are a playoff contender, legit. The Bills are legit. If the Giants lose this game, they then are going to be 3-3 after 6 weeks, because they have to go to New England on a Thursday night to play against Bill Belichick. And if I were expecting the Giants to be probably the best team in the NFL with all the weapons, a team that just rocked the Pittsburgh Steelers, that would be totally crazy of me to think that. I think crazy stuff. I can't buy into that whatsoever. So the Giants then would probably go to Tampa Bay, maybe win. If they lose to Buffalo, they're 0-2. Let's just say they go to Tampa and win, and they're 1-2, and then they beat the Redskins and they're 2-2. They play the Minnesota Vikings. That's a very tough game. They play the Vikings at home and the Patriots on the road. You split those, you're 1-1. You're a 3-3 average football team, and you still have the Cowboys later on your schedule. You have the Packers, the Chicago Bears, the Eagles twice. You're probably not making the playoffs anyway. So then, if your defense doesn't improve and if your defense continues to suck, then Eli Manning should maybe look to go to this destination. Carolina. Because Carolina is going to be bringing in a rookie quarterback next year. Cam Newton's likely going to retire. He's lost his last 8 games as a quarterback. His completion percentage is going down. He's throwing some more interceptions. He doesn't even do quarterback sneaks anymore. His shoulder's all messed up. He's lost all this weight from becoming a vegan. And he doesn't seem interested in ball anymore. And the Panthers ran him into the ground. I mean, Cam Newton had an MVP year. Kind of a disappointment maybe for a first-round pick in terms of longevity. But I don't see this guy really sticking around and playing even 2 more years. And if Ron Rivera wants to keep his job, if the Panthers want to make a run, you might as well trade a 5th or a 4th rounder to the New York Giants for Eli Manning. And if you're Eli Manning, you're close to your family in Tennessee and North Carolina, and ironically, it's where Daniel Jones is from, and it's a new organization with a new owner, a New Jersey-based owner. Eli Manning can then be the starting quarterback next year before Justin Herbert comes in. And for Ron Rivera, it's the kind of desperate move that Ron needs to make for him not to get fired. But let me go back to the Giants. Let me go back to Shurmur and Daniel Jones. So with Daniel Jones at quarterback, with DJ, we need to see if Shurmur's really the guy. I mean, Pat Shurmur, I don't hate him as much as Ben McAdoo, but I think he's a pretty mediocre coach. He doesn't really inspire. His press conferences are kind of, low energy, not that exciting. In the locker room, does the team really buy into Shurmur? This defense under Shurmur has not improved at all. And that's up to the head coach. Hiring James Betcher in the draft process, that is Pat Shurmur. So it's a shame because you have Chris Richard in Dallas who's going to be available. You have Sean Gleason who's at Oklahoma State who's a really good coach who I think is going to be excellent. And Kellen Moore is the second coming of Belichick. So you have Richard who I think is the next Pete Carroll. You have Kellen Moore who is going to be crazy good. You have Sean Gleason, Shane Waldron, Kevin O'Connell. Who's the best guy to develop Daniel Jones? And if you're the Giants, eventually you got to take a risk. So for Eli Manning, if this defense sucks, there's no way the Giants are then going to go to a Super Bowl, and they're probably not going to make a playoff. And if they're 3-3, Eli started when Kurt Warner was 3-2. If the Giants are 3-3, Eli Manning and his time is over. That Cowboys game was a game that you needed to win. This Buffalo game, if you start out 0-2 and then you are sitting at best 2-2 with the Vikings, who look good running the football, with the Vikings and the Patriots coming up, it's going to be very hard for Eli Manning to keep his job. And for Eli Manning, if you're a fan of Eli Manning, if he stays in New York and gets benched for Daniel Jones, then next year his best option is probably going to be a backup quarterback. But if Eli Manning goes to a Jacksonville, if he goes to Indianapolis if Brissett is not good, if he goes somewhere, maybe Tampa Bay, if Eli Manning goes somewhere, he can then maybe play for another 2 years in the NFL. So Eli has to look at his own self-interest as well, because he's given this franchise everything, and it's looking like Pat Shurmur, his own head coach, if Pat Shurmur believes in Daniel Jones, then if you're Eli Manning, eventually you got to have the wherewithal to actually step up to the plate and look out for your future and your last remaining years in the NFL. Look at Peyton Manning. He went to Denver. He was very good in Denver. He won an MVP and went to a Super Bowl. But then at the end of his career, he had Gary Kubiak, John Elway, great receivers in Demaryius Thomas and Eric Decker. And he had the defense to show for it. And he was able to play at a high enough level, and he was able to compete for another Super Bowl. If you're Eli Manning, and as an Eli Manning fan, would I sacrifice Eli playing 8 games, or would I want Eli Manning to go to another team and play 2 more or 3 more years? I would love to see Eli play 2 or 3 more years. He still has the arm strength. If you protect the pocket, Eli Manning can still be a very, very effective quarterback. It's all about timing and offensive line. Look at Derek Carr. Derek Carr had time. His offensive line stepped up. He knew the scheme well. He trusted in his players, and he had an outstanding performance. So it's going to be a fun game. I'm going to try to hook up this microphone into another computer upstairs so I can do a film review of Josh Allen, of Jimmy Garoppolo, and it will be a lot more better looking, and the audio will also look better as well. But anyway, guys, I hope, speaking of audio, that this audio came through. I am excited for Sunday. The NFL is going to kick college's ass this week. There's not too many great college games on, and it's Bills and Giants. And it's a very winnable game for the Buffalo Bills. Can the Bills prove that they are legit? Can they take care of teams that they should take care of? And for Shurmur and especially Eli Manning, is Eli still going to stick out this year? Do the Giants have fight in them? Do they have playoff aspirations, or are they just a dead team walking that's waiting for Daniel Jones, that's waiting to start 2-4, 3-3? Average, mediocre bullcrap. Is it mediocre, Or are you ready to step up and beat Buffalo at home, put the Cowboys game behind you, and go to Tampa Bay actually with something to play for this year? We will see. I hope the Giants come out and win this game, and I hope Eli Manning can keep his job. I hope that the coaching staff on 3rd and short gives it to Saquon Barkley, and they at least continue to try to run. If it gets stuffed the first couple of times, keep it going. Thank you, guys. I know this ended up being a long show. Thank you all for watching.